Welcome to The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and this show is called An I Told You Show because, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to try and keep myself calm for this, but Chaos Dwarves have been officially announced for Age of Sigmar 4, and I do not know how you are not losing your mind. I woke up this morning, I did the reveal stream. That's what we're going to be talking about. Games Workshop did a reveal stream this morning. I stayed up. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning because it was the most insane time. Doesn't matter. Different show, right? But then at the end of a road map, they showed us the goods, the hot sauce. They showed us this, okay? Let's get straight into it. So at the very end of their video, they had this screenshot, the future. But we want to hear your guesses for sure. So that little text at the bottom is from like the kind of transcript of the preview video. Now, I for long have been telling you that Chaos Dwarves are coming to Age of Sigmar. I have mentioned this in multiple videos. In fact, there was a video that I did last year, and also we did the predictions video just only a few days ago, which many of you watched. I want to say thank you for doing that. However, I have said that they are absolutely coming in Age of Sigmar 4. I didn't say necessarily 2025, but this roadmap that they showcased here showed you some things that they would be working on. We're going to do another video about the roadmap because this is not a video about the roadmap. This is a video about me being right. This is a video about many people on Reddit being wrong. And this is a video about me being right again. I don't normally like to do this. As you know, I'm quite a humble streamer. I'm a humble YouTuber, and I like to just kind of keep myself to myself. I talk about the games. I talk about what's good, what's not good, and how many toes are on models. A lot of things that I say, right? Yeah, the people's champ, many people describe me as. Exactly, right? But to be vindicated, right? To finally be able to show everyone on the internet that they're wrong and I'm right, which is the point of the internet, as I understand it. The man who wrote the internet said, finally, I can win that argument. The guy that created it. That's why he created the internet, I think. Anyway, so vindication. So how do I know this is Chaos Dwarfs? This is a really good question because actually right now I'm just talking shit. Okay, that's really fair. So Chaos Dwarfs have actually featured across most of the literature for Age of Sigmar, all the way back to the launch of Age of Sigmar 2. In the Age of Sigmar 2 core book, they were described as being in the City of Death. In Age of Sigmar 3, they were also there was also some small paragraphs written about them as well. Then when we saw Cruel Boys released in Age of Sigmar 3, they also, specifically the Hobgrots, got their armaments and armor from Chaos Dwarden. I think it's probably, I'm saying Chaos Dwarfs have returned, but they're going to be called Chaos Dwarden, right? Because that's what they call them in Age of Sigmar. So that's what we're going to see. So they get all their armaments and all of their supplies. Then scratching into Age of Sigmar 4, it definitely seems like they've ramped up how many stories that they're telling about it. But that's not really enough indication. And also, why is this specifically Chaos Dwarfs? Well, time to, as they would in the very best crime documentary, enhance. Okay, so we're going to enhance over here. And if we look to the right of the eyes, and I think if we were to get a high enough res picture, we might even be able to get something from inside these eyeballs. But over on the right-hand side, you can see this chain and this little bit of like a medallion. Actually, it's hidden behind my head. Just here. You can see that? Perfect. So now, if you're a long-time Hushut fan, as I am, body littered and covered with tattoos of Hushut runes, which mine is, then you would know that this is one of the icons of Hushut over here. So there's an enhanced picture, and there you can see like a focus in. Now, I knew this immediately. Like the vibe is Chaos Dwarf. Now, this is going to be really exciting. Because I think many people are going to be excited about Chaos Dwarfs. Do we think it's coming out in 2025? I would say probably towards the end of 2025. If this roadmap is to be followed, I think that's when we're going to end up seeing it. And I guess then the next kind of question is, will it be, or will it be the Chaos Dwarfs that we know and love? And also time probably in the comments to write which of the Chaos Dwarfs are you excited about? Do you want Big Hat, Chaos Dwarfs return. Obviously, we've seen kind of this gross parody of Chaos Dwarfs in Age of Sigmar, which I think was actually pretty funny. We saw from Lumineth Realm Lords and the Stone Guard. We saw the hammers, the giant cow hats in this kind of like light to dark kind of mirror self representation of elves that literally were Hashutian in nature, which I think is actually, and I've said this many times about the design aesthetic of Age of Sigmar, they're really, really good at understanding themselves, at least the designers, and self-referencing themselves. A good example of that would be the upcoming goblins. Goblins considered to be like the dank moon element, but then to switch that up and then go for like a sun-based goblin, you know, you get that kind of mirror entity. And we see this a lot, actually, even when we go and make a video, when I start talking about Soulblight Gravelords in another video, we'll talk about how there's always kind of like a Liege Kavalos style man atop a horse with the pose with the arm in the air, right? It's a bit of a classic. And they do have a very good, strong design language, but they also have a very elegant, in my opinion, kind of design philosophy where the world self-references itself, which I think is really good. So we have seen some sort of indication of like large hat Chaos Dwarfs, or are they going to go much more along the Alan Bly style Chaos Dwarfs, where we're going to get squat, kind of like heavy armor plates, big war machines along trains. So those are the two styles. I think we're going to see neither. We're going to see an AOS-ified Chaos Dwarf release. And the rumor is that we're going to see Clockwork Chaos Dwarfs. That's at least the rumor that I've been hearing around the scenes. Clockwork. And that's kind of interesting. You know, Steampunk can be a bit cringe, let's be honest, but maybe it'll be super, super cool. It also makes sense if you look at some of the stuff that we have seen in like Total War as an example, with things like Astrogoth. Chaos Dwarf fans don't get me. Because he's got like a very steampunk kind of like vibe. Obviously, all of the war engines, so your steam train, or your Iron Demon technically, so your Iron Demon and the train carriage sort of idea would really lean into a steampunk / clockwork aesthetic, which would, I think, make a lot of sense. So I think we're going to end up with a kind of very different vibe, a very AOS-ified Chaos Dwarfs, which I don't hate. I would just love to go towards like Flame and Thunder, but obviously they've also got Fire Slayers, which kind of fulfill that niche to many degrees. So I think that's going to be really hard to have that aesthetic in them when I think Chaos Dwarfs can be so much more and they can dip into so many more elements of it. They've also got, and quite obviously, they've got the Bull Taurian sort of side to them as well, where you've got the giant kind of like centaur style bull monsters, which could also be a key feature. So if we start thinking about units that we might see, or units that we could be seeing in the future, I think we're going to see something like 10 to 12 kits. That's normally what a new army release is like. In fact, actually, this is quite exciting because this is our first new army release. I'm going to check myself here. I think this is our first new army release. No, Cities of Sigmar, I think, was a new army release. It was definitely an update of humans. And then Flesh Eater Courts was an update of Flesh Eater Courts. But the last time we had like a new, you know, quote unquote race, introduced really was, I guess, Cruel Boys was the last time we had like a new full-fledged army released in. Everything else was an update, but I feel like the Cities of Sigmar, maybe Flesh Eater Courts, was a pretty massive overhaul, to be honest. But either way, Cruel Boys was the last. So this is pretty important. And the Cruel Boys units, this is, like I said, going back to the Hobgrots, featured units that directly did trade with Chaos Dwarfs. So I do like that there's also that connection between the new, the last and also this release. So there's a continuation of those themes. Talking about units, I feel like we're going to see a lot of artillery. We have to. It depends how much they want to change the aesthetic, but I feel like artillery and trains feel like a key element of what Chaos Dwarfs really represent. Another big thing is obviously going to be magic. Now, in Warhammer Fantasy Battle Days, dwarfs doing magic was the sin. They didn't do magic, and in fact, they were turned to stone, which was the story of Chaos Dwarfs. They would, their Iron Demon, their Ironsmiths and their wizards would do magic, and then they would turn stone. Okay, they're sorcerer prophets and stuff. But they were also engineers. So they were sorceress engineers, a bit like kind of what we might see from Dark Mechanicum, a bit like what we see from like Chaos Space Marines, where demons and demonic souls are put into machinery. So I think that's the kind of big vibe that we're going to get. We're going to get demons enslaved as well. There was a big kind of, like 0-hour contracts labor initiative introduced by the Chaos Dwarfs for their green-skinned brethren. So they definitely believed in that. So I think we might also see enslavement, but we might see that kind of taken to demons and enslaving demons inside machines, which I think would be cool. So lots of artillery, maybe some big, large demons that they have on leashes or chains, or a part of, like a part of like some sort of like centerpiece model. Talking about centerpiece models, I'm going to go for, we're going to see Bell Tauruses or something like a Bell Taurus return. Bell Tauruses are a big, cool cow model with big wings. It would be weird not to get that, but they might go much more down the engineering route. I don't think we're going to get Kharadron Overlords with big ships. I think that would be a little bit odd. Or maybe we'll see Kharadron Overlords but trains, basically. Maybe that's effective. Evil Kharadron Overlords with trains. But I'm hoping we see a big centerpiece model, big wings, big cow, big magic. So loads of wizards that are also weirdly engineers. Then some just battle line dwarfs. I reckon we're going to see some foot dwarfs, maybe some with like hand weapon shields, maybe some with guns, probably blunderbusses or something super cool like that. Big artillery, maybe a couple of monster units, like I've said, like bull centaurs. So like half centaur, half bulls kind of thing. I don't know if they were ever, I don't know if they're half bull, half ogre. Is really what they are. So that's what I'm expecting to see. But either way, we're months away, maybe half a year to a year away from this release. But I'm super pumped. And I'm also just glad I was right, because that feels nice. But truthfully, I'm actually really excited for Age of Sigmar, because I think looking at the rules for Age of Sigmar over the past 6 months have been a little bit uninspiring. Listen, I'm super pumped about the new goblins coming out. They look great. Super pumped about the new Soulblight Gravelord stuff. Looks great. But now we move over into Chaos Dwarfs. I'm like, cool. I think this is something that maybe just get a few more eyes back on Age of Sigmar. A few more eyes and a few more people being like, actually, I didn't understand your game, right? Because that is really going to like put a flag in the ground, which I think would be cool. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I've been talking to the Twitch chat about it. They seem pretty pumped about it as well. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what units you want to see. And let me know if it's an army that's for you, or you're like, actually, Rob, I'm not that pumped. This is a big personal deal to me, because this is like my army. So I'm really excited to see how this looks. Super excited. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.